All right, friends, I'm going to walk you through how to get set up with MIT App Inventor. We're going to make a quick app that's going to let us take pictures and then draw on the picture. We'll also be able to change the color and the size of how we draw on the picture, and we'll be able to erase the picture as well. So it's a pretty cool little app. It works really well, and it's pretty quick to make. The first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and search up MIT App Inventor. So click on that. And when you get here, you're going to want to click on the orange Create Apps button. And then you're going to want to choose your Google account. So click there. Log in with your password. It's going to ask you to accept the terms of service because you haven't been here before like I have. So you'll want to accept those terms of service. It may ask you if you want to do a tutorial. I would cancel that or skip it. Also, you may not want to see this screen, so you can choose Do Not Show Again. And then you want to go to Continue. So I have an existing project here, but you're going to go to Start New Project and give it a name that makes sense. So my app's going to be called Digital Doodle. That's how it's going to be graded in my class too if you're doing it for that. So I'm going to call it that. Before we begin, let me just give you a real quick tour around the screen here. There's only two screens that we can access on MIT App Inventor. There's this screen, which is the designer screen, and there's the block screen that I'll show you in a minute. The designer screen is split up into 4 different pieces. You have the palette on the left, the viewer that takes up most of the screen, and you have the components view to the right of that, and properties. The palette is everything that we can put onto our app. The first one's open, that's the user interface. And if I scroll down, we can click on layout. These are layout things, obviously. Media, obviously has media things, and so on. They're all pretty clearly named. If we want to put something on our screen, like a button, for example, we can just click it and drag it right onto the screen. If we're confused about what something does, there's a little question mark here. We can click on the question mark, and it'll give us a little pop-up and tell us about what it is. We can change the size of our view here and make it larger if we care to. And onto the components view. The components view will have whatever was last used highlighted, and we can change aspects of it here. We can also find it here. So basically this is graphical, and this is just a list. So this is how we rename things in code. And finally onto the right, the properties. This is what the user of the app is going to see. So anything we change here is going to be a graphical change that's going to be represented over here. So finally, we have some buttons up here that we can click on. Most of these you won't use most of the time. You'll use projects to switch to different projects. And if you want to save your project to your computer, you can go here, for example. But most of the time you won't be using these things. The checkpoint feature is actually a really nice one to use though. If you're going to make some changes and you're not sure how that's going to play out, you can make a checkpoint which forks your project. Now you have the old one that's saved, and then you can make changes to the new one. And if that doesn't work out well, you can always just delete it or not use it and go back to the previously saved one that'll be saved before the checkpoint. I'll show you Connect later on when we have more work done, but this is how we're going to be able to connect it to our phone or a tablet. So if you're in class, I have tablets for you to use with the MIT App Inventor AI Companion already installed. But you can install this on your own phone or tablet as well if you care to. Go to your app store, or whatever it's called on your particular phone or device, and install the MIT AI Companion. It'll have a logo that looks like this, and that'll allow you to try this out at home. In order for you to try this out at home, you're going to need to be on the same network as the computer that you're coding it on, so keep that in mind. In this class, we're not going to use build at all, but if you want to install your app, you click on build, and this will give you a way to install it. You'll also need the MIT AI Companion to do that. Settings are pretty straightforward, and so is help. All right, so let's get on with creating our Digital Doodle app. So the pseudocode, or human language that sounds like code, basically our plan, is that we're going to take a picture, put the picture as the background of the screen, then we're going to be able to draw on it. After that, we're going to add the ability to change the color of how we draw and the ability to erase what we drew. So let's get started with that. So we already have a button on the screen, and this is going to be our camera button. I'm going to rename this camera button in code. Notice it changed here, but it didn't change here, and that's because this is how it's going to look in code. The user's not going to see what I just typed there. This is really useful for us, though, because when we code it, it gets confusing if they're all named button 1, button 2, and so on. One thing I like to do is make my button background colors none, and that way my screen background color sets the color for everything. That's not always what you want to do, but I like the way that looks. I'm going to change the text over here to be camera. And notice it's changed now to represent that. Let's change the screen 1 background color real quick. So I clicked on screen 1 on components, and now if I go to background color, I can make it whatever I want. I'm going to stick the light gray for now. You can also change the color of the text if you care to, if you don't like the way that looks. Maybe white looks better. It doesn't. I'll stick with black. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to need to do is be able to take a picture. I'm going to go to Media and add Camera. Notice when I put the camera on the screen, it goes below it. It's a non-visible component. So we can't see it on here. It has nothing represented on here for us to look at. Finally, we need a place to put the picture after we take it, and that's going to go on a canvas. So I'm going to go to Drawing and Animation. That's where our canvas is found. And I'm going to drag a canvas onto the screen. Notice the canvas is white in the background, and I don't like that. So I'm going to change its background color to be none. So now it's gray. And it's also very small. I want it to fill up the entire space available. So I'm going to change its height to be fill parent, and its width to be fill parent as well. Fill parent's a flexible sizing that will fill the screen of whatever we're working with, a phone or a tablet, to as much space as available. It's really nice. Rather than giving it a fixed size that won't work for every device, we give it a flexible size that auto sizes it to fit the available space. All right, let's head over to blocks now, and we'll code this part up. So back to our pseudocode. The code is when I click the camera button, we're going to take a picture. So I'm going to go to camera button, and at the top it says when camera button click do, and I'll drag that onto the screen. Notice everything we put on the screen is listed right here. We can't code something that's not there unless it's one of these built-in things. And these built-in things are just basically reusable items that we can put into our code. So like math, for example, text things and stuff like that. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is our block screen. So there's a lot less going on here. We have blocks, the code that we can put into our app, and we have the viewer. Back to our pseudocode again. We have the camera button. Now we want to click camera 1 and call camera1.takePicture. So now it's taken a picture, and now we need to do something with that picture. So we're going to go back to camera 1 and choose when camera1.afterPicture and put that on our screen. And we're going to put that picture on the canvas. So I'm going to go to canvas 1 this time, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm looking for set canvas 1 background image 2 right here. Notice it starts with the word set, and notice the block piece is like top and bottom, not left and right. So I want the top and bottom one, and I'm going to drag this onto my screen. Just like the question marks on a design view, if I point right here, keep my mouse there, it'll pop up with a little helper that'll explain what this block of code does. It's really useful. Now I need to change this. This is just a placeholder. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to point my mouse to where it says image, and this will pop up. I'll choose get image. And now that'll set my background of my canvas 1 to be the picture that I took. So to try it out, you're going to go to your phone or tablet and choose the MIT App Inventor AI Companion that you have already installed. It'll look like this. You're going to click Scan QR Code, the blue button. From there, you're going to go back to your computer, and you're going to choose Connect up here, and then click on AI Companion. And when you do, you'll get a QR code. Hold your phone or tablet up in front of that, and it will automatically scan. It might take a couple of minutes, or at least a minute or two, to connect. If it doesn't connect in a minute or so, then cancel here, go back to Connect, and reset your connection. Also, sometimes you just have problems connecting. If that doesn't connect right, if it freezes or whatever, go back up here, reset your connection, and go back on your phone or tablet, close the MIT AI Companion app, reopen it, start the process over again. Okay, cool. So now we have the ability to take a picture and we can put that on our screen, but we can't change the picture and we can't write on it. So let's change that and give ourselves the ability to do that now. When we draw on the screen, we're going to drag our finger across the screen and we're going to draw a line that traces the path our finger made. That's kind of our pseudocode. So we're going to go back to Canvas 1 and I'm going to scroll up this time. And I'm going to find the top thing, when Canvas 1 dot dragged. We can put these anywhere on the screen, by the way. We can even put them on top of each other. It doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to go back to Canvas 1 and I'm going to find call Canvas 1 dot draw line. Now what we're going to try to do here is a little bit confusing, but basically as our finger traces across the screen, we're going to get the spot where it was, the previous place, and where it is, and we're going to connect the line between those two spots. The screen keeps track of where things are by coordinates, like X and Y, and that's why you see X, Y on here. So X1 is going to be prev X, Y1 is going to be prev Y, and I'm just pointing my cursor over top of it and I'm waiting. I don't have to click or anything. In fact, I don't think it works if I click. It doesn't. Don't click. Just point your mouse over it and wait. X2 is going to be current Y, and Y2 is going to be current, X2 is going to be current X, and Y2 is going to be current Y. Now we should be able to draw on our canvas. You can go ahead and try that now if you want to as well. But let's keep moving. We're going to go back to the design screen, and we're going to be able to change the color of how we draw on the canvas by adding some buttons in. Because right now it's just going to be black. So I'm going to go back to user interface, and I'm going to get a button for each color that I want to add. And I can add about as many as I want. Now notice if I put the buttons here, I can't stack them side by side. This is really frustrating for people. It doesn't matter where I try to go, they won't go side to side, only top and bottom. All right, so I got 4 new buttons for 4 new colors. You can have more colors if you want to, but let's go with at least 4. And I'll show you guys how to stack them side by side in a moment. Now, everything I'm about to do is kind of optional for how you do it. You can use your own design kind of plan to do this, but I'm going to change the name to be the name of the color that I want. So for example, red. So I went over here to the components view and I changed my button name to red. I'm going to set my background color to be none because I like to do that. I'm going to change the text for red to be a capital R. And I'm going to change my text color to be the color because I like that. And I'll do that for the other ones as well. So there I have 4 colors. And like I said, you can add more if you want to. And now I'm going to show you how to get them to stack side by side. Before I show you the thing that's going to allow us to stack them side by side, I want to show you something about moving things around on MIT App Inventor. Notice that when I click on the button and I try to move it, that blue line shows up. The blue line indicates where this item is going to go. So when I let it go, it's going to go sort of where that blue line is. It's a little odd because it's side to side in this case. And I think that's really just representing the fact that this is kind of a vertical stack of things. To change that, I'm going to go to Layout, and I'm going to choose Horizontal Arrangement. Notice, besides horizontal arrangement, I can have horizontal scroll arrangements that'll let me scroll side to side. I can have a table arrangement, which is really handy if you have a lot of things, like if you were making a calculator or something. And I have vertical arrangements and vertical scroll arrangements. All really useful. But we're going to use horizontal arrangement this time. So I'm going to put it someplace around where the buttons are and let it go. Now the background color is different, so I'm going to change that to be none again. And I'm going to start putting my buttons in that horizontal arrangement. So I'll choose my red button, and click it and drag it in. Notice now the blue line is vertical and it's on the left-hand side. Where the blue line goes is where my button's going to go. So I'll let it go, and now it's inside that horizontal arrangement. It's a little hard to see that, but you see the black square around it? And also notice over here, this is my horizontal arrangement. The red button is now moved to the right because it's inside that arrangement. If I click on the arrangement, it changes the way you can see it, or not see it. And that helps me know where it's at. To get the next button in there, I'm going to find it. And notice that if I don't put my cursor inside that box for the horizontal arrangement, the blue line goes above or below. People find this really frustrating. To get this button inside that box, I have to move my cursor inside that square horizontal arrangement box and then let it go. And it'll stack side by side. You can see there's a blue line that shows where it's going to go. Great, so now I have 4 buttons, and I'm going to do one more button that's going to be, I don't know, some other color, some custom color. I want to show you guys how to make your own button colors. I don't know, I'm going to make this button teal. So I'll rename this teal. What's blue and not very heavy? Light blue. And I'm not going to worry about the text color at this time. I'll show you how to change that too. All right, so let's head back to the blocks view and set these buttons to be coded. My pseudocode is going to be, when I press the red button, we're going to set the canvas 1 paint color to be red. So I'm going to go to the red button. I'm going to scroll up. When red, click do. And then I'm going to go back to canvas 1, which is down here. I got to scroll down. What's orange and sounds like a parrot? A carrot. I'm going to scroll down and find set canvas 1 paint color 2. Now I'm going to go to colors and I'm going to find red. And I can use this red color if I want, or I can click into it and find even more colors if I want to change it. That's all I have to do for the red one. Now if I want to code all the other buttons, I could just 2-finger click on a Chromebook into this space, or right click if I have a mouse, and choose duplicate. And now I have a copy. Notice the red X. I can't have 2 of the same button on the screen. It won't allow it. And that's why I have a warning about that. So I'm going to change the name to be blue, and I'll change the color to be blue as well. So that's really easy. Again, I'm going to 2-finger click on this, choose duplicate, change the name. This time I'll choose yellow, and do it for the last one. And finally, I'll duplicate this for my teal button as well. Teal probably wasn't the best color choice because there's actually pretty good teal choices here, but I wanted to show you how you can create your own colors and make them anything you want. So I'm going to delete the color here, and I'm going to slide over so I have a little bit more space. And this time I'm going to go back to colors, and I'm going to choose make color. And I'm going to go to a new tab in my browser, and I'm going to search HTML color picker. And when I do, this is the first thing that comes up, HTML color picker, at least if you're on Google. And notice I can slide around and make almost any color I want. So this is a color that we're representing, and I can slide this to make it look like whatever I want. So let's say this is the color I really want. Actually, I'll make it a little more teal. Let's say this is the color I want. All of these things are ways to represent colors. I have it as RGB, CMYK, HSV, HSL, and so on. The ones we care about are RGB in this case. So it's going to be 0, 228, and 245. So I'm going to remember that, 0, 228, 245, and I'm going to go back to MIT App Inventor. So back on MIT App Inventor, I think it was 0, 228, and 245. And now my pink color will be teal. I also want to change the color of the text for that button. So I'm going to go back to the teal button, and I'm going to scroll down. And I'm going to choose set teal text color to. And then I'm going to 2-finger click on the gray part, choose duplicate, put it right there. Now my button will be the right color. Actually, I just realized it won't be the right color when I first turn the app on. It'll only happen after I click that button, because when I click that button, it'll set the color. And that's kind of annoying. And rather than change this, I'm going to just fix it because I just really need to. So you can feel free to skip this part if you want to, but I'm going to go to screen 1 over here on the left, and I'm going to scroll all the way up to the top, and I'm going to choose when screen 1 dot initialize do. So when the screen first turns on, this piece is going to run. And I'm going to take this out and put it here. Now the button will be the right color when I turn the app on. All right, now you can see everything's kind of a mess in here, and I don't like that. So I'm going to two-finger click or right-click in the white space, and I'm going to choose Clean Up Blocks. And that puts them in a nice, neat, organized pile. Now's a great time to try out your app again, but I'm going to go back to the design view. And this time I'm going to give us the ability to change the size of the pen. So when I slide the slider, we're going to change the pen size for the canvas. I want that to be up here. So I'm going to add another horizontal arrangement by going to Layout. Notice the blue line, that's where it's going to go. Just like last time, I'm going to set a background color to be none. I'm going to put my button in there. Now I'm going to go back to User Interface, and I'm going to find a slider. Put that slider over here to the right side of the button, but inside the box. And there it is. This slider, for some reason on MIT App Inventor, will not look right unless I do the following two things. First, I have to change the slider width to be fill parent, or at least bigger than it was. And I also have to do that for the horizontal arrangement, only for the width. Back to the slider, just so you know, you can change the colors of it, and you can change its maximum value and its minimum value, as well as its start value. If I never wanted it to go above, say, 40, I can make it that. And if I always wanted it to start out at 10, I could do that, whatever I want. So back to blocks. Click on slider 1. When slider 1 dot position changed. And now we're going to change the pen size on canvas 1. So I'm going to find canvas 1. And I'm going to scroll down to set canvas 1 pen size. It's not pen size, it's line width. And I want to set it to the thumb position. So I'm going to point to that. Again, don't click, point your mouse to it and set it there. Great, we're almost done. Let's go back to the design screen, and this time I'm going to give us the ability to erase it like an Etch-a-Sketch. So I'm going to go to Sensors, because I want to be able to sense when we shake it, which is the accelerometer sensor. I'm going to drag that onto the screen and let it go. It goes down below along with the camera. And then I'm going to head back to the blocks view one more time. Find that accelerometer sensor, click on it. And I want the second one, when accelerometer sensor 1 dot shaking. And what we're going to do is clear canvas 1. So I'm going to go back to canvas 1 and call canvas 1 dot clear. Now we can take a picture, we can draw on the picture, we can change the color that we draw with, we can change the pen size that we draw with, we can erase everything. We completed our assignment. We did everything we needed to do. So if you haven't tried it yet, definitely try it now. Even if you have tried it, try it now. Go to connect your app. You don't have to save this. This will automatically save. There is a save option here, but it's unnecessary. You can click it if you're paranoid, but you don't need to. It'll automatically save, just like this. So this will always be there. Now you've made your first MIT App Inventor app, and it works pretty darn good, I think. All right, friends, until next time.